Good morning, everybody. Welcome back. This is Get Up and Get Better.
Get better. Go get it.
Good morning, everybody. Welcome back. This is Get Up and Get Better. We're going to talk about one of the most iconic and influential people in my life, and I think I could say the same about millions of kids here in New York and across the country and across the world. I think you can guess Derek Jeter. Derek Jeter, for a kid growing up in New York who loved baseball, played shortstop, wore number 2 because of Derek Jeter. I think there are millions of kids who can say the same thing. They would play shortstop. They'd try and do the jump throw just like Derek Jeter. I found out very young that I wasn't going to the major leagues because I wasn't the best baseball player on the field, but I loved baseball. I loved my New York Yankees, and Derek Jeter is the only person besides me that I know that wears a Yankee chain around his neck. He said he did when he was younger, and I've worn this ever since I was in middle school. Every day of my life, I've had it on for every occasion that is important to me, and the only reason I've ever taken it off is because like a doctor's appointment or something. It doesn't come off my body. I love my Yankees, and I love Derek Jeter. He changed my life growing up, watching a guy with that demeanor, with that much talent, and still stay humble and still go after more. He won 4 championships in his first year. He won Rookie of the Year, All-Star MVP, World Series MVP, part of the core 4, one of the greatest shortstops of all time, over 3,000 hits. He was the epitome of what a baseball player should be. Just over 99% of the Hall of Fame vote, and he should have been unanimous. That's another story for another day, but he really changed the game of baseball. He was the face of Major League Baseball ever since he came in the league, and when he left, he still is a part of the game. He's a Miami Marlins owner, and he's the CEO, and now he's in the Hall of Fame. Should have been 100%. I'll say it again. But he has changed the lives, arguably just as much as Michael Jordan has as an athlete. He brought that demeanor. He was born in Jersey, grew up in Michigan. He had one sole goal. He wanted to play shortstop for the New York Yankees. That wasn't made up. That was a known thing ever since he was younger. He wanted to be shortstop of the New York Yankees, and he got it. He found a way to get it done, and he didn't have an easy road. He got sent down, got called up. He had to prove himself. He did not do good when he first came into the minors, and he continued to persevere. He continued to battle the adversity that was headed towards his way. And look, he said this once: there may be people who have more talent than you, but there's no excuse for anyone to work harder than you do, and I believe that. And I'm going to play this quote by Derek Jeter that just says a lot about who he is as a character of a baseball player and a character as a human.
Stayed with me the entire 20 years is I was not afraid to fail. You know, I have failed plenty. I failed in spring training, I failed in regular season, I failed in the postseason, the World Series, but I'm not afraid of it. And, you know, I've always had the ability to separate one day from the next. And, you know, I don't know if that's something that's innate or if it's something that you learn, but I always looked at that as being a strong point, because you can't play our sport, and more importantly, you can't play in New York if you're not mentally strong. And you will be tested, because there are expectations, there are responsibilities, and, you know, there's pressures here. But, you know, I was just never afraid to fail.
So I think it's important that he brings that up, playing in New York. He wasn't just playing shortstop for a World Series champion team. He was playing for the New York Yankees, a team that held such prestige and history, and he really valued that history. Growing up a fan, he really showed that it meant a lot to him and that he wanted to continue that legacy. And, you know, from his career, there are so many moments I can think of the walk-off home run in 2001, just after 9/11. There's the 2000 World Series where he had a lead-off home run to switch things up. That's what Joe Torre wanted to do. And then, I mean, for me, you know, you have the play in Oakland, and then you have the play of him diving in the stands, but the most iconic moment that I will always remember him for, I was there, I was in the stadium watching it, was his final at bat. I'm pulling up here on the screen right now. I can't believe that this happened. And it was just so perfect of who he was, and, he deserved that ending, and what he brought so much joy his entire career to fans that, almost everyone in the stadium was crying after this because we cared about him so much as a player and what he did for us. And, to see him get that moment was just amazing because it summed up his career perfectly. He always came through for us, New York Yankee fans. He always came through. He never let us down. We never wavered on him. We always believed in him because he proved that to us, that we should always believe in him. And he was known to be a guy who was smart with the media and always gave a smart answer and never made it about him. He always wanted to make it about his teammates and the goal, and that was to win. He only cared about winning. And I'm going to play this clip too.
I know that there's a lot of people that have much more talent than I do throughout the course of my career, not just now, throughout the course of my career. And I can honestly say I don't think anyone played harder. I don't. Maybe just as hard, but I don't think anyone had more of an effort. Every single day I went out there, I tried to have respect for the game and play it as hard as I possibly could. And I did it here in New York, which I think is much more difficult to do. And I'm happy for that.
He went out there every day wanting to win, and he knew he wasn't the most talented guy on the field. And I'm a big guy in this. You don't have to always be the most talented, but you have to be the hardest working because that's within your control. And I definitely got part of that mindset from Derek Jeter. He went on the field every day not knowing if he would be the most talented, but knowing he would be the hardest working, and he never settled, and he always proved that. He always proved that he was the hardest working person on the field, and that was shown through his entire 20-year career. His moments, his demeanor, everything about him summarizes why we all love to be New York Yankee fans, and he never, ever let us down, and that's why he was our captain. And, to share some insight about my dream growing up to, I knew I wouldn't play for the Yankees. I knew I was not going to be a shortstop for the New York Yankees. But I always thought I could work at the stadium one day. I could always find a way to work at the stadium. And I got an internship my junior year. The sophomore year, I applied to a company called Steiner Sports. They were a marketing affiliate of the Yankees, and they had a membership deal. And I knew that if I worked there, I could find my way in. And I was too young that year, so the next year at midnight, I was positive I was going to be the first one to send in my application and have everything lined up and ready to go. And when it hit midnight, I sent it in, and I sent a message to the CEO on LinkedIn. Long story short, I got the internship because I was prepared and ready. And then a few months go by, and I'm working with all these Yankee players. I got to work with Didi Gregorius. I got to work with Gary Sanchez. I was part of a team that put together a project for him that he actually loved so much that he wanted one for his house. And then I got to work with Don Mattingly. And then I got to work at Yankee Stadium. I got to do these events where we worked with Doc Gooding, Darryl Strawberry, Mike Tyson, Mariano Rivera, and I got to meet Mariano multiple times. And I got to work Yankee Stadium. I promised myself I would one day, and I did not let myself down because I was determined, and I might not be the most talented, but I was going to be the hardest working. And I had the opportunity to interview Derek Jeter. And meeting Derek Jeter, they always say, don't meet your heroes. Well, I think that's ridiculous because you should want to meet your heroes to see if they live up to what pedestal you put him on. And he lived up to it. He was such a genuine guy. Here's a video of me shaking hands with him, and I got to interview him. And when we were done, he was like getting taken away. He was getting swept away to go to the next interview, but he made sure to turn around, shake my hand, and thank me. And I will never forget that moment. I'll never forget meeting this person I looked up to as a kid, and I still look up till this day because he still inspires me, and he's the captain. He's number 2. He's a Hall of Famer. And thank you, Derek, for inspiring me, leading me to finally getting to work at Yankee Stadium. I knew I would do it one day, and yeah, my appreciation for him will always be ongoing, and I hope to pass it on to my kids one day to let them know that this guy was the captain of the New York Yankees, and we all loved him. Thank you, everybody. I will see you tomorrow. Be like Derek Jeter. Be the hardest working person in the room, and go get better.